Hey folks, welcome back to my channel. Today I would like to start my very first PC build and upgrade video. Actually, the motivation for this video is the upcoming Doomsday. Yes, exactly 30 years ago, on December the 10th of 1993, ID Software launched the world's most known 3D first-person shooter. Today's video is my tribute to 30 years ego shooter gaming history. So what will I do exactly? Well, I simply want to play Doom exactly as it was done when the game was released in 1993. A quick check on what PC architecture was used reveals that Doom was released in the midst of the famous 486 era. The Pentium was already out, but just in March the same year, so practically nobody could already afford it. Or maybe it was under the upcoming Christmas tree? I guess a fast 486 should therefore do it. I recently saw the Siemens Nixdorf desktop PC on the flea market, and of course I had to take it home. The combi consists of the branded flat desktop PC, a keyboard and a 14-inch VGA screen. No CD-ROM, only a 3.5-inch floppy drive. Quite basic. Before we boot up this PC, let's look at the configuration. From outside you really don't see much. There's only on the left an Intel Inside badge and a 3.5-inch floppy drive. No other hardware is recognizable. From the back I also get the impression there's not much inside. There is no additional slot populated by any kind of card. The VGA port seems to be on the motherboard. Then there are parallel and serial ports and two PS2 inputs, nothing else. Looking closer, there is no label, but there is some printing directly made on the desktop housing. It says Siemens Nixdorf Information Systems PC-4DX2/66. So this must be a 486 DX266 MHz. And as there is this label saying Intel Inside at the front, this must be an Intel 486 DX2. Okay, let's try to power this up now. Okay, it seems to work. Okay, there are some CMOS battery fail. 7 MB extended memory. So cache is disabled. CMOS RAM error. Okay, a lot of problems. Floppy disk controller error. No controller present. Okay. Good, but at least the computer works. That's already a good thing. Let's try to get into the system. Let's reboot maybe. 486 BIOS. Can we go into the setup? Okay, funny looking setup. Quite flickering here on the screen, I'm sorry for that. But yeah, there's no information about time and date, so I guess battery is dead. No disk, no hard drive. Good, maybe the first thing is to open up the computer and check if we can replace the battery, check what hard drive is installed and get it back on stream. So let's try to remove the lid. So that's the computer. I see there is a Caviar hard drive. Quite lean. Let's have a closer look. Let's have a look at this section first, where we can see the sockets for the RAM modules. 8 modules are inserted, 2 different types. As we saw, we have 8 MB in total, so these are all 1 MB RAM modules. Then we have an Opti chipset 82C498. We have a Cirrus Logic graphics adapter CLGD5428, and there's an award BIOS, an empty socket which says here overdrive, the populated socket where the main processor is. There is also space for a 486SX QFP, which was not installed. And here we have the extender for 3 16-bit ISA cards. Maybe here an interesting feature, I tried to look at the CPU and basically the heatsink is just put on top of it. No heat paste, nothing. And yeah, what you see is a very neat, really clean 486DX2. It has the SB AWE64 Further, we can see that the chipset of Opti is from the year 1994, May, and also the Cirrus Logic's graphics chip is from 94, dated June. So yes, this is pretty much a system that was produced in the early 1994, just a couple of months after Doom was released. So another quick finding here is that I think those are the video RAM modules or chips. They end with 60p, so these are probably 60 nanosecond video RAM chips. I have to check again if this is half a megabyte or 1 megabyte. So let's take off the floppy flat cable, and what we can see now better is a Caviar 2340, 1010 cylinders, 12 heads, 55 SPT, 341 megabytes. Let me just write that down so we can insert this into the BIOS. Okay, cables are all back in. Let's try to boot this up. Enter the BIOS and set the specifications for the hard drive. Everything passed, that's great. Missing operating system. Let's try to boot from the disk. Okay, DOS is booting. I have an install disk here from MS-DOS 6.22. German version. Okay, so is there any kind of... Yeah, wow, okay, so there is a hard drive. Hard drive is detected, but it didn't boot from it. Okay folks, I have to improvise a lot here. So what I did is I took out the drive and the hard drive of the Siemens Nixdorf computer, and I installed it to a newer mainboard version, which is a Pentium mix version where the hard drive worked, and I installed the Caviar 2340 from the Nixdorf. I installed it as a second drive, and now I can copy the benchmark information and also the DOS games that I have directly, and then I will reinstall the drive back into the Siemens Nixdorf computer, so at least I have some data to do some benchmarking. Alright, the hard drive is installed back in the system. I'm rebooting it now. And I hope we can use the floppy disk to boot DOS 6.22. Yes, it's booting. Very nice. So if that works, we now have access, first time, to some Doom demo. If everything works, we can have a first view on this vintage PC looking at a demo of Doom. Let's load DOS Bench. Yeah, yes, it works. PhilsComputerLab. And the demo is B. Nice, it's booting. Oh, hilarious. Yeah, that's how it looked like. Sorry for the screen. I may have to use an LCD screen for better recording. But yeah, I'm enjoying first time in 30 years seeing this live on such a vintage computer, a 486 DX2. Pretty much the system that I had back in those days. So there's no sound because I think the sound is disabled while I anyway have no card. So that's gonna be one topic. But the first thing I want to manage is to install Doom, the full version, so I can really play it. This is just a demo, and now that I see it works, I can transfer data with this little bit cumbersome method, putting the hard drive in another PC. I will use now the compact flash adapter and see if I can transfer data like this. Okay, so this came out with 3125 real ticks. Let me just calculate this. Okay, so this is 24 FPS. I think that's playable, fully playable. Great. Okay, as I said, let's try to install this part here. I will replace the hard drive. I will not try to configure this as the second drive or whatever. I want to really first get it up to speed, and then I can use the CF card here, insert it into my modern PC, download Doom, install it here, install it then there, or play it directly from this CF card. Let's get right to it. Okay, so what I have not considered is that I need some power cable. I cannot use the one that is, I need the floppy drive, so I cannot exchange that. So I will just use then this one here. This computer. Okay, well, guess what? I had to really change the whole setup. I'm using now this external power supply because this one has two floppy disk adapters, and I'm now trying to boot this up. Okay, that works. And now I have to set up the CF card. So for this I will use now what I had in the other computer when I looked at the CF card. In the auto detect mode of the BIOS, I read 992 cylinders, 64 heads, etc. So I entered that here, and let me save this now. And let's boot it from the disk. So I hope the CF card is recognized. Okay, we are in FDISK mode, finally. So let's check first what we have. Okay, so there's a partition non-DOS, 2 GB. Very good. I think I have to first delete that one. Not DOS. Yes. Yes, deleted. Okay, this is deleted. Now I install a new DOS partition. Yes, primary DOS partition. No, I don't want to have the maximum volume. Yeah, 504, that's actually good. So this is an old computer, it doesn't look beyond 504 megabyte. This is why we are doing this now. In this case, yes. Okay, it's done. So I think that's it. I cannot have it displayed. Yes, on C there is one partition, primary DOS. But the system is not valid because it's not formatted. Okay, so this looks fine. Yes, let's reboot. Okay, now I can format C. Including the system files. Yes. You see here the red dot, yes. Okay, so I call that CPU Duke. Very nice. Cool. Amazing. Alright, so I transferred a couple of games onto the CF card. Unfortunately, I can't boot from the CF card, so I need to go via the floppy disk. But yeah, I think we are one milestone closer to the target. Booting looks fine. And I go to the CF card and yes, everything's there. I go to the Dooms directory. And there's a setup. Doom version 1.7. Unfortunately, I have no sound card. Oh, look what we can do. SoundBlaster, Sound Wave Blaster. Okay, let's do no music. PC speaker. Controller type is keyboard only. Configure controller. Okay, yes. Right. And it's loading. Doom! Finally! Nice! Terrible sound! Okay. My ears are aching. Gosh, this is worse than an Atari game. Knee deep in the dead, yes, hurt me plenty. Oh my god, it's so long ago that I played shooting. Yeah, it's nicely playable, I have to say. Take the armor. Can I enlarge the screen? I think I can do that in the options section. Screen size. Yes. Now we are there. Ha! What a retro feeling. Bam. Oh my god. It's really long time ago. Space. Okay, this really looks like the demo, but it's me playing. I really remember the feeling when I first strolled over these labyrinths levels. But at that time I had already a SoundBlaster. So that's not really yet the feeling I'm looking for. Okay guys, so much for this milestone. Doom playing on a 486 DX266, fully not optimized. I didn't do any kind of upgrading or whatsoever, just trying to install the game on a computer where the hard drive didn't work. I didn't have anything on disk other than the DOS version. So guys, just another riddle here that I could solve. I actually could resolve the topic of booting from the CF card. The issue was that I didn't activate the partition that I was formatting and setting up as a primary DOS partition. So don't forget that. If you don't activate it, it can't boot. Now it boots. And here you have it. Version 6.2 directly prompted at C. Yeah, so I do not need any floppy disk anymore to start Doom. Wow, what a progress. So next chapter, what are my sound card options? Well, I don't have many ISA slot sound cards. I have the Vibra 16, which is I think a newer version. Looking at the date code, this must be from 98. And I have this wonderful SoundBlaster AWE64 Gold with date codes 96. So I think this is already a couple of years down the road after the launch of Doom, but I think this fits well because I anyway have those two options. I will take the older one, and the other ones are cards which I can use only in PCI slot motherboards. So let's take this one, install it, and see how Doom sounds like on this wonderful card. Okay folks, the SoundBlaster AWE64 is installed, and of course we need speakers, so I have those retro speakers from Yamaha fitting the whole case here nicely in beige. Let's power up the computer and have the very first sound test starting Doom. I also could manage to put the right boot system on the CF card, so I can now nicely boot, initializing a CD-ROM which I didn't install yet, and the SoundBlaster. You see it's the recognized SoundBlaster AWE64 Gold. Some of the parameters are quite important, as you recall. In retro computers you need the interrupt, the DMA and the address lines, so this is important for Doom. Let's enter the setup, and what we can choose here is General MIDI SoundBlaster AWE32, so I guess I will take this one. MIDI port 330, and here we take the SoundBlaster, the port address 220, IRQ5, DMA1, number of sound effects to mix 8. Yeah, let's do that. Save parameters and launch Doom. Now let's listen to that. Nice. Yeah, that's the sound of retro gaming. Cool, everything is set up for a nice game now. Hilarious. Okay folks, it's a wrap. 30 years Doom, what a great milestone. I have to say I learned a ton making this episode. Getting a vintage PC to work was not so trivial, but finally I managed to play Doom on a 1993 system. I hope you liked my video. Thanks for watching this and don't miss any of my upcoming videos.